Hello, I'm Lauren, and in my video today, I'm going to be looking at how this HIMI gouache palette compares to some Holbein artist gouache, a little sample set that I recently picked up. I've been working with the HIMI set for a little while, and there's things that I like about it and things that I don't. I'm new to gouache, so it was the first gouache set that I tried. So I just wanted to see, what the difference in the price being that basically these cost the same amount. I paid about around 25, a little under and a little over for each of these. And I just want to know, how does it compare? Does it make that big of a difference for me who's closer to the beginning of their art journey? So with the HIMI palette, it comes with 3 brushes, which is nice, and a little palette. And there are 24 colors. There's the palette. It's plastic. It's seen some love for the yellow, for sure. And I just wanted to see, does it make a difference? This professional artist gouache, other than being more light fast. I actually haven't checked the light fastness of these specific colors, but is there anything else? Because, I've heard that it makes things are a lot smoother. So I'm just unboxing this little package of joy that I got in the mail. It actually came in the most precious tiny envelope. I really should have saved unboxing it from that as well. Upon opening the box, they were even more adorably small than I thought they'd be. There's 5 colors that are 5 milliliters each. They are in carmine, lemon yellow, ultramarine deep, white, and black. So I'm really excited to try these out and just see, does it make a difference for someone like at my level who's just beginning with gouache and sort of even art more in general. So with using the HIMI palette, one of the issues that I've been having was that how quickly the gouache dried up on me. I live in a more, arid climate, and so even though I'd be spraying it often, things would be drying very quickly if I took paint out on the palette or if I mixed a color that I was using. So I've been using this home stay wet palette where I put a paper towel down underneath and then a piece of parchment paper on top. I don't think it's great for my water control. I think everything's a little wetter than it should be. But I do appreciate that the paint isn't just constantly drying up on me. So there's positives and negatives. But upon swatching these for the first time, look at that ultramarine deep. It's a beautiful color. A little more transparent maybe than I was hoping it to be. The yellow seemed pretty opaque, like for a yellow. But I think I fell in love when I felt this red glide across the page. Absolutely stunning. Beautiful and so smooth. And the black as well. Just so smooth. And mixing the colors, anything that I was mixing looked beautiful and vibrant. The green started getting a little washed out, but that's just because I was trying to save the paint. So I decided just to take what colors I'd sort of mixed and make a little painting. I made a gross error at the beginning, doing a 4-petal flower right off the bat in a large size. I should know better by now. A large size 4-petal flower just isn't currently in my wheelhouse. The rose was looking a little bit cuter. You'll see me messing with that 4-petal flower throughout. I didn't really go into this little sketch with much of a plan. So I was just trying to see what the colors could do, doing some shapes that I often would be doing if I was doing something in the floral realm. Yeah, look at me messing with it already. One thing that I do really like about the gouache over a watercolor is that you can paint over it when it dries, which is very nice. Whereas with watercolor, if you go in too deep, you can do some lifting, but you're often kind of stuck with that dark. I was very impressed working with this, just how smooth this paint was. Larger pieces, like the large petals of the flower, even though I don't love them, were easy to paint would be easy to paint in the HIMI as well. But things with a little bit of a finer detail, like these, like some of the smaller leaves, there was a huge difference. In fact, I'm going to be doing some very little leaves. Here they are, right away. And the amount of detail that you could get with just how smooth the paint was and how smooth it went on, I, in that moment, knew I don't think that HIMI palette's going to be getting a lot of love moving forward. I think my kids are going to really enjoy it, and I think I might be having to use the Holbein. So I decided to try the same thing with the HIMI, just to remind myself. I'd been recently doing a fair number of paintings with the HIMI gouache, but just to give a reminder. One thing with the jelly gouache tubs that I find rather frustrating, that even with semi-regular use, within a couple months here I've owned it, they do dry out even when you spritz them occasionally, and you have to bring them back to life with this, like this, every once in a while, if it's a color you haven't used. So you gotta spray it with water, get in there with your palette knife, and stir and stir and stir before you can even start painting. So with the Holbein, it is a much smaller amount of paint, but it's sort of always just ready to go. You don't have to worry about waking it up again each time you go to use the palette. So the HIMI gouache, though, is very nice. I probably would have stayed happy with it if I had not had such tendencies as always just wanting to know what's on the other side of the pasture. Is the grass greener? So the colors, when I tried just mixing those ones, those weren't other colors from the palette, those are just mixed. They do turn out a little bit different because the red I used was a little bit more orange. But it still made pretty nice mixes, nice colors. Some of them are very similar in nature, but the biggest place that I noticed the difference was in these like smaller, more delicate pieces. It just doesn't glide as smoothly. It's not as easy to get a good water paint ratio, and I couldn't get as fine of lines. But I mean, it still looks pretty similar. The HIMI maybe didn't get a fair shake as much because I was sort of done with this image by the time I got to this point. Sorry for the abrupt transition there, but I just wanted to talk through. I've now been using this set of gouache for probably about a month, I guess now, and just have some final thoughts. So on this day when I had first tried it, the Holbein Artist Gouache definitely was just so much smoother, and if we'll just ignore some of these things, but it felt so much better. It was just more fun to use, I would say. There wasn't the HIMI, there's that mess and having to stir and mix things up, and like the cross-contamination that can happen, and like I had a lot of fun with that palette and painted a number of pictures, but I do think I do like the Holbein Artist Gouache a lot better. Yes, it is a lot pricier as well, and a lot of people will say, you know, if you're a beginner, just use whatever you can get your hands on, save the good stuff for down the road. But I'm getting into art well into my career where I make money, so I'm already sort of a little down the road, you know what I mean? So if not now, when, you know? And it makes it more fun, so why not if you can afford it? So I did do a few other paintings. So this painting was done, I didn't come up with this, it's a replication from this book, The Art of Gouache, 20 Fun and Creative Painting Projects for Everyone, by Victoria Semjonova. Very cute book that I very much have enjoyed doing some of the projects that are in here. But where is her version of it? Here we go. So this is the original painting and then my replica. Taught me a few things about gouache for sure. especially mixing this lavendery kind of color was a very cool thing to learn. Talked about some dry brushing techniques. And then I thought, well, maybe just try what does this scene look like in the summer, and the colors are so bright. You may have noticed that I maybe bought a couple more Holbein Artist Gouache colors. I got these they came in a set, the Traditional Colors of Japan, the Autumn set, and this is what the box looks like. And I chose this just because it had those beautiful fall colors and the nice blues and greens that I'm so drawn to that aren't part of their normal line. And I only had those 3 other ones, and there was no sort of replicas in the set. The sunflower that came in the Artist Gouache and the carmine that was in that little pack of 5 were pretty similar, but all of the other colors definitely stand on their own. I did a gouache. This is with the Holbein Artist Gouache, a nice poinsettia for Christmas time. It was a dream to paint, doing some other gouache things. This is all with the Holbein Artist Gouache. This is a mixed media with the Holbein Artist Gouache. But before I got this Holbein Artist Gouache, I was working with the HIMI, and I think I like that work as well. Like, this is the HIMI palette, and I quite like this picture. This is with the HIMI. These are both with the HIMI. So now that I've prattled on a bit, I just want to think about, at the end of the day, if I was only going to have one of these, either the Holbein Artist Gouache or the HIMI, which would I choose? I think I might choose the HIMI just because there is just so much more paint. There's 24 colors, 30 milliliters a piece. There's more paint because 5 tubes at 5 milliliters each, that's 25 milliliters of paint here. That is one of these. So one jelly gouache container is equal to all of the paint in this set, and they cost the same amount. So if money is any part of the sort of equation, the HIMI gouache is definitely a better buy, hands down, for sure. However, this gouache is beautiful to use. I would say that it is more vibrant, it's smoother. It, for me, makes painting more fun. And why I paint is to have fun. Yes, I want to improve my skills. Yes, I like to get a little bit better, those sorts of things. Yes, I'd like to learn. But at the end of the day, the reason that I'm doing this, the reason that I'm doing YouTube, all of this, is because I'm wanting to have fun. And if this is more fun, then this is where I'm going to be going. But the jelly gouache has its place. I'm not going to get rid of it, obviously. I've had a lot of fun with it and will continue to have fun with it. There's still lots of good paint in there. And because it's water soluble, it can continue to be re-wetted, even though it's dry. It keeps drying out on me, especially this white. I cannot keep this white mushy for the life of me. But I digress. That's the other thing about this. This lid just doesn't seem to ever want to line up. Okay, there we go. So I pass it off to you. What do you think's the better deal? Do you think that I'm absolutely crazy going with the Holbein moving forward, or do you kind of get it? Let me know in the comments. If you liked part of this video, or if you're still around, please give me a like. Consider subscribing for more content from a beginner's perspective. Thanks. Bye.